Now, to give you guys a little bit of background about me, a friend of mine, Balth, once famously said that I was a jock in high school. And I guess by a certain definition, you could consider that true. I was on the swim team. I did get 2 varsity letters for swimming in high school. So I wasn't necessarily what you would call bad at swimming, to say the least. I wasn't exactly what you would call out of shape or unfit. I wasn't what you would call exactly not a jock, but, sports and athletics, they're in my blood, all right? I love going to the gym. I love lifting. I love working out. I've been doing a lot more lately, and, it's a great time, right? Which, it may surprise you then that I don't watch a lot of sports. Even when I was on the swim team, I would tune in if swimming was happening in the Olympics, like once or twice. Like, there was if there was a big swimming event or if it was the Olympics, I would tune in for swimming. But I really didn't follow it all that crazy. And outside of that, there are no sports that I'm a fan of that I follow besides jiu-jitsu and MMA. Like, I don't follow them super close, but I'm a fan. Outside of that, I'm just not a big sports guy. I don't spend a lot of time looking up sports stats or, like, keeping up with a team. I don't have, like, a home team that I'm a fan of or anything. And because of that, I'm not really in the world of, like, ESPN News or, like, Barstool Sports or anything like that, okay? It's just not my world, personally. But that world is now kind of crossing over with mine because I did not really have enough context going into my coverage of the story. I actually kind of misframed what's happening here in my announcement for this stream. My bad, by the way, for anyone who saw that. You strike me as a backstroker? No, I hate backstroke, actually. My best stroke was breaststroke, but I also was a damn good freestyler, but did not like back or fly. I could not... Back was just frustrating because I got like so much water in my ears. I just hated it. I hated doing backstroke. I also kept bashing my fingers into the lane lines because you can't see where you're going. Hated bashing my fingers into the lane lines too. So hated backstroke, and I didn't like fly stroke either because I didn't have like the delt or trap muscles necessary, nor did I have like the level of like flexibility in my like torso area to be able to do those motions with such like explosive force to actually get a 25 or much less a 50 fly stroke done. Like, you just need a certain type of body training for fly that I just didn't have in me, and I wasn't putting the work into. I didn't know that like there was something I needed to do special to get good at fly. So I was just like, fuck, man, I guess I can't do fly for the hell of it. Yeah, I can like I almost went to like regionals on my fly or my breaststroke, but I can't like finish a 25 fly. It is what it is, I guess. Shit, I guess I'm cursed. Listen, I like stroking breasts, okay? Regardless, though, very good at breaststroke, like I said. Rewinding, though, I misframed the situation in my announcement for the stream. I apologize. This is actually not a situation where Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports is being anti-Semitic. It is a case where he is going against anti-Semitism that he has been made aware of, which is a very different story. So my bad entirely for the accidental, unnecessary shade at Dave Portnoy. You see, correct me if I'm wrong, Barstool Sports is both like a live sports news show and kind of podcast deal, right? Like, it's very popular, it's very big. I swear Barstool Sports exists in that form. But isn't it also like, I'm assuming it's also like a brand, right? Like, Barstool owns bars, like actual like sports bars where people go to watch like football games and stuff, right? Like, they're big. Yeah, they are. Okay, so it seems like it's a pretty big company, and a lot of people know this guy. This is like a big famous guy who's like the type of dude who I've heard about occasionally, but I just don't follow his world. But apparently he's Jewish, and at a recent something, there was an anti-Semitic poster of some kind shown at a Barstool Sports-owned bar, and Dave Portnoy went crazy against the messaging there. Just went Giga Chad as fuck. And of course you've got Fox News framing it as him exploding after an anti-Semitic sign was shown in a Barstool bar. You know, people can't call me unfair if we watch the Fox News segment about this story. How much money you want to bet that Fox News is going to find some way of either ridiculing Dave Portnoy for being upset at anti-Semitism or try to, like, downplay the anti-Semitism? It's got to be one of the two, right? Especially with the title and thumbnail. There's no way it's going to, like, frame him as just for calling out anti-Semitism. There's no way Fox News is going to let someone slide on calling out Nazism. That's not their brand. Let's find out. Saying ayo. Oh shit, that sign's not good.
So an upsetting show
of
anti-Semitism. Now, Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy is doing something about the vulgar slur displayed on a sign at his Philadelphia.
Okay, chat. To be fair, it is censored. What if instead it actually says "suck the Jews"? Because if it says "suck the Jews," I think every single Jewish person watching right now will agree that that's totally different. All right? Like, that's totally different, and arguably a positive message that they would want spread far and wide. Yeah, no, this is definitely some frat bro fuckery for sure. All jokes aside.
Philadelphia bar. Watch.
My initial reaction was like, I'm gonna burn these people to the ground, their families, everything. And it's like, you know what? Maybe that's not the best course of action. Maybe I can use this as a teaching moment. I'm sending these kids to Auschwitz. They've agreed to go, and they're gonna do a tour of the concentration camps in Germany.
Wait, no, this actually got wholesome. Wait, wait. This got real wholesome. The headlines are all about how he, like, blew up and got, like, unhinged about these frat bros. But, like, him turning it into he's paying for them to go on a trip to Auschwitz and learn about the Holocaust is a whole other thing. Mind you, going to Auschwitz, like, you have to be a black-hearted demon inside to go to Auschwitz, do, like, the tour. And I know a fraction of the things that you see there. And, like, dude, the things you see there, if it does not, like, stir someone away from thinking that, like, anti-Semitism is a joke or it's not a serious thing, like, they're just a black-hearted demon at that point. One thing that you can see at Auschwitz, I found out a few years ago that really stuck with me. Something to keep in mind is the prisoners at concentration camps, Auschwitz, for example, were massively underfed and overworked for weeks, if not months on end. This led to dehydration, starving, ketosis, and massive weight loss, which meant that a lot of concentration camp, like people in concentration camps, a lot of Jews, a lot of, like, socialists and, like, all the other groups, gays and whatnot that they targeted, they became very emaciated, which, like, caused not only their growing fingernails, of which they had nothing around to, like, actually handle their growing fingernails, to grow out, and then, like, the skin receded around them to make them, like, look even longer, to the point where a lot of the Holocaust victims had, like, fingernail claws almost, right? And when they were shipped off to gas chambers to be mass killed, it is a slow, agonizing, and torturous way to go, the gas that they used. And it's basically a dry on-land drowning in your own mucuses and whatnot in your lungs. It's horrific. And the people inside are clawing at the walls to get out. They're clawing at them, literally, trying to just escape. All bodily thought is gone. It's just the body in control, trying to receive fresh air that isn't killing it. And so when you go to Auschwitz, you can look inside the gas chambers, and they're lined with claw marks. Literally, like, these chambers, if I remember right, are like a quarter foot or maybe a half foot thick cast iron scored with human fingernail scratch marks because of the desperation of the victims trying to save their lives, trying to save the lives of their children who might have been in there with them. The horror that you could like imagine just hearing something like that. I haven't seen this, mind you. I've just heard of it. The horror that you can just imagine seeing something like that, yeah, they're all naked in there too, of course. The horror there, you have to be a demon of a person for that not to stir you. And so I'm curious to see if these frat bros have like a realization on this trip. If he's serious about sending them on this like Scared Straight style trip to Auschwitz. That's crazy. At first when he said you're going to Auschwitz, I was like, is he getting really edgy about it? I was like, is he making a joke that he's going to go to Auschwitz and restart it just to send these anti-Semitic college kids there to get the Auschwitz experience? Is that where this is going? But no, it's way more wholesome than that. Thankfully, this is actually quite wholesome.
And hopefully learn something.
And Dave Portnoy joins us now. Thank you so much for being on the show. Can you take us back to the moment when you...
Oh, good. They gave him a platform. Okay, I thought this was going to be like, you know what? Rare Fox News W, I guess. To be fair, of all the isms and isms and ists, I guess, would be the terms. Yeah, all the isms and ists that Fox News is, anti-Semitism might be their least prominent feature. Like, is there some anti-Jewish sentiment bouncing around at Fox News? For sure. But much like Trump, Fox News would rather run hard defense for Israel than, like, defend blatant anti-Semitism, like, on national television. Like, they've got their priorities in check there, and anti-Semitism is very low on their list. Like, trans people, people of color, immigrants, these are the groups that they want to really focus on. But all right, let's hear what Dave Portnoy has to say. Never heard this guy speak once in my life, by the way. Dave Portnoy also called out the Supreme Court for getting rid of Roe v. Wade. Damn, he seems pretty damn based. Okay, glad to hear it. I've never heard this guy speak outside of this video before, by the way. It's just like very outside my purview of interest, but seems like a chill guy. I've known of him for roughly 12 minutes, and I went from having a negative opinion of him because I misunderstood the story, as people were recommending me to cover, and I now have a very positive one.
You first heard about it, what your reaction was, how you felt?
I was furious. I got inundated with just everybody. I mean, Philadelphia is definitely a big Barstool city. We've done a lot there, so just everybody saw it. It made the rounds of social media, and my blood was boiling. I was just absolutely incensed.
Okay, and so you went through a range of ideas for how you wanted to handle it. Tell us what you started with and what you ended up with.
Yeah, I mean, the first knee-jerk reaction was like just to punish them and kind of ruin their lives, whoever was involved in this, as much as possible, and make them regret it, and, you know, consequences for their actions. And the people at the bar, make sure anybody who allowed this or was a part of it to be fired, they still were. And then when I thought about more, it's like, you know, what is that going to do? There's just so much hate right now in the world, especially anti-Semitism. I spoke with the Crafts, and I know that they have a big anti-Semitism organization and try to stop hate. We kind of brainstormed, and we came up with the concept of sending them to Poland, to the concentration camps. They put me in touch with people who would be able to give a tour.
Oh, by the way, don't want to interrupt his based ass speech here, but I want to give you guys a little reminder. Someone tweeted this, and it really stuck with me. Made me go, damn, that's a good fucking point. Auschwitz isn't in Germany. It's in Poland. The quote-unquote illegal immigrants that we're shipping out of the country and detaining in God knows what conditions for God knows what we're going to do to them, not in America. They're in black sites. They're in South America. Not in America. Auschwitz wasn't in Germany either. That tweet made a good fucking point. That stuck with me. It's a good thing to be pointing out, because yeah, the parallels are there, right? They are there. Just because we don't have mass killings on American soil does not mean that we won't possibly soon be doing a Holocaust. Might not even happen on American soil, but a lot of it didn't happen on German soil either.
Talk to the kids. I talked to everybody involved in this like instantly. I was getting phone numbers, names. So I spoke with every single person involved to try to, basically understand what happened. How could this happen? Why did they do this? And obviously at this point, they're all going to be like, I'm so sorry. I would never do this because they got caught. But the thought was maybe if they could learn more about, the history and why this is so offensive and visit Poland and the concentration camps in Auschwitz, you could make a teaching moment out of it. So that's what we landed on. And they were willing to go do this.
When you talk to the crowd,
That's based as fuck. I hope it's not for them, just like they're gonna fuck around and have a fun Polish vacation and like try to blow off the Auschwitz visit. I hope they actually go through with it. And I hope like they put out a video where it's like, yeah, we went to Auschwitz. Here's like, I think that would go pretty hard. That was very overblown. I was watching live. It was like meme level anime prawn lol. Wait, are you referencing the Vosh porn? Are you talking about like the two lolly girls eating a horse's ass out? That is not meme level, unless you just want to believe that he just had that downloaded as a joke, not to jack off to. But if you say so, bro, if you say so, if you are brave enough to say you think that publicly, then far be it from me to give you shit. You're gonna get plenty on your own.
crafts, and I just wonder about anti-Semitism being like the oldest hatred. And do you think that there is just some ignorance, and that perhaps
Zan, there was more to this. This offer was rescinded. Oh, we'll have to look more into this in a second and see what updates to the story have happened then.
perhaps the teachable moment is the one that can, at least for these individuals, make a difference?
Yeah, I can hope it can help. It's certainly, I think I've been online now with Barstool for over 2 decades. I without a shadow of a doubt, over the last year and a half, obviously stuff in the Middle East, the increase in anti-Semitism is through the roof. The amount of stuff I get sent to me every day, and even people who defend these kids, is insane. And I think, it's a combo of factors, but certainly social media allows faceless names to say things, do things, and pile on. And if you're unhappy with your life or you're miserable and you're looking for a scapegoat, suddenly it's all the Jews' problem. There seems like there's a lot of that.
This is just true, not on like a vibes level. He's arguing as if it's like the vibes that like, man, Jews are always getting blamed for everything. But like, correct me if I'm wrong, in almost every Western nation, regardless of like any crazy political scandal around immigration, like whether or not there's like a refugee crisis happening, or if like a certain hate trend is happening towards a certain minority group, despite all of that, in most of the Western world, Jews are consistently the most hate-crimed demographic out there per capita, not just by sheer numbers due to their numbers. So like, anti-Semitism is really weird. It's so common, and like so many people just decide the Jews are at fault for so many different problems, and it's not an exclusive to the right thing either. Like, you can say they're right-wing agitators if you want, but among the pro-Palestine movement, there are bad apples that have tried to utilize the pro-Palestinian sentiment to like get people's already existing righteous anger towards Israel and turn it into something more sympathetic to like Hamas's goals, right? Like, actually, you know what? Yeah, Israel shouldn't exist. All its people are monsters. I should be wiped out. You see a lot of that sentiment starting to popularize, in these spheres. And it's clearly like driven in some way by anti-Semitism, at least by a lot of the people pushing it. And it's like, yeah, it exists on the left too. It's like anti-Semitism really is everywhere. And that's a big reason why Jewish people have historically been so scared. We're talking pre-Holocaust that there have been mass killings of Jews, mass discrimination of Jews, right? Like, I know it's the Bible and it's kind of cringe to reference it. I'm also not a Christian, but like, just to reference some of the oldest stories in human history, almost every Bible story that takes place after like a jump in time, we reestablish and reset with the Jews being oppressed again. Like the main character of every story is always a Jewish guy while the Jews are being oppressed. And there's like 5 or 6 stories I can think of where like the Jews are not actively being enslaved, mass killed, oppressed, or dominated by like the Philistines or some other tribe. And it's like 5 stories, like literally like 5 stories where that's not the case. And like the Jews are doing pretty good in the Bible. And the Bible pulls from a lot of real historical context in that way. So like going back to the earliest stories in human history, the Jews are getting their shit rocked nonstop for being Jewish. You think more modern history, we've got the Holocaust, but hell, look all across Europe since and before the Holocaust. The amount of anti-Semitism built and baked into their law is insane. I learn new shit constantly, and there's so much I don't know what I don't know, and I know that I don't know a lot more of the horrible shit that Europe has done around that time of the Holocaust and before. Hamantashen, I've never even heard of that, but it was some mass killing of Jews that I haven't even heard of, because once again, there's too many to fucking count. And it is persisted, anti-Semitism has persisted to this day, to the point where there is just, for some reason, they're the group the most targeted consistently for thousands of years. A culture and a group of people who are so soaked in their own blood and tragedy, it kind of makes sense why politically there is a pretty decent amount of support for the existence of Israel, even with all of its government's actions, because even those that want to reform or even radical in favor of reform of the government don't want to lose Israel, a country that exists and offers the opportunity to flee any bad situation if you're Jewish around the world, and also provides people there with a free military training and like some level of security from like possible danger if anti-Semitism gets real big. We get another Hitler in Europe or something, right? And so that complicates the whole Palestine-Israel issue even more on a global politics scale, you know? A very common slogan among Jewish people is never again. And keep in mind, that never again line doesn't just mean the Holocaust.
And I don't even think people know, like these kids, I highly doubt they're very familiar with the plight of, you know, or history of the Jewish nation. And I don't think they're certainly protesting what's going on in, you know, Palestine or with Hamas. They're just ignorant. Right. So hopefully going and visiting will put some emphasis and make them reflect a little bit before they're absolute jerks.
I'm sure you saw some of the responses from people who think that this kind of punishment is not really a punishment, like, as if you are sending them on a vacation and a trip to Europe and how great that's going to be. How do you respond to that kind of criticism?
We need pork because of food safety. It's a complex issue, but I love ham and bacon. Isn't the reason why Abrahamic religions, and I think Christianity was the same early on, don't eat pork is because the pigs don't chew their cud. They're not ruminants like cows and goats, which are more common food animals. And also, I think, also chickens. Chickens are also ruminants because they have a gizzard and they eat rocks. So anything that doesn't chew its cud is seen as unclean. And pigs, they'll eat humans, right? Like you can literally starve like 5 pigs, like 5 big hogs, and then throw like a 200-pound corpse of a man in there, and there'll be nothing left a day later. No bones, no nothing. Don't ask how I know. But yeah, like there's a reason why, like when a bunch of like feral hogs are like picking apart the corpses on the battlefield, it kind of makes sense why like everybody, the Hebrews, the fucking like Christians, the Romans, everybody is like, yeah, maybe we don't eat those animals. They're big, they're succulent, and they're juicy, but man, what filthy creatures. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of Jewish people saying that. I'm getting mad at them. They're like, this is the worst solution ever. You're sending them on a paid vacation, like you said, like they're going to the Bahamas. This is going to be a teaching moment, and I don't know anybody who would love to do a no-frills trip to Poland to have what should really be a saddening and disheartening teaching moment. And if that doesn't get through to these kids, guess what? Nothing will. And who cares if you ruin your life, because they're just going to be jerks and do it again. But to me, this was the best option. In no way do I think this is some win for them, like they're going to Ibiza or something, going to be clubbing. No, they're going on a very strict, regiment, tailored visit to one of the worst atrocities of mankind. So, there is no great solution, but I put my head together with some other I consider smart people, and this is what we came up with.
And we appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so much, Dave.
Dude, he's pretty fucking based. I'm not gonna lie. Didn't expect some sports bro to be so based. Apparently, Philip DeFranco did a really good recap summary of the situation and gave an update on the rescission of the offer. Okay, here's the story. Philly D! Fill me up, Philly D.
The Dave Portnoy
Wait, pause. I meant fill me in.
Barstool F the Jews situation is crazy, has sparked mass outrage, but also divided the internet for a few different reasons.
Should I title this video the F the Jews situation is crazy? That would be such a great title for this segment. Oh. Honestly, it'd probably do numbers on YouTube with a title that, incendiary. Probably go
Senator
crazy.
Chris Murphy joins the show to talk about why and how he's going after Trump right now.
This is, as I said, probably the most massive corruption
There's a lot of
in the
reasons
history
why.
of the country.
The Newark airport meltdown was actually worse than we knew. And then a good light news story to help keep you sane. We're talking about all that and much more on today's
Good
brand
news.
new
Cringe.
Philip Franco show. You daily dive into the news, how it's being covered, and how people are reacting to it, starting with this. This Dave Portnoy F the Jews situation is crazy. So this whole situation, it starts at Barstool Sansom Street in Center City, Philadelphia, where notably you can order a customizable sign to be carried to your table along with bottle service. And on Saturday,
So employees at Barstool at that location agreed to put that sign together. Those employees definitely got fired, and that order came from so high up the chain. Dude, you fucked up when the guy at the top of the chain orders you're firing through layers upon layers of regional managers, owner, manager, down to you. You get unilaterally fired by the CEO. You fucked up when that's how it goes. That's how it went too.
a video was posted online of a server carrying a sign saying "fuck the Jews" on it, which then, unsurprisingly, sparked a lot of reactions online, with people demanding to know how this happened, why the server agreed to it, and why the man...
Okay. Now, like I said, it could say "suck the Jews," but we also don't know how it's meant to be read, to be fair, right? Because it could be "fuck the Jews" as like a, anti-Semitic statement, but it could also be "fuck the Jews." Like, have sex with them. And that could be read differently, all right? We don't know. We don't know. Let's be fair to these young men. Just go full Saul Goodman. Like, you see, to be 19 again. These young rapscallions were having a great night, out at the bar, and they thought it would be funny to express their sexual attraction towards, as they have said themselves, the beautiful Jewish people, with a custom sign that they thought that they would express their love across the restaurant. But nay, jury, for their love was interpreted as hate. Like I could just go full Saul with it. Your Honor, what you don't understand is my clients, they were trying to be horny, not hateful.
managers allowed it. And then you had a lot of people wanting a response to the situation from Dave Portnoy, the founder of Barstool Sports, who is notably Jewish. And respond he did, with him posting a video on X saying,
There was a sign yesterday that said, the Jews. I've been shaking. I've been so mad for the last 2 hours.
with Dave going on to say that he was working on tracking down everyone involved, that the two waitresses responsible for the table had already been fired, and that he spoke to people who actually ordered the sign.
There you
I
go.
talked to one of the two guys who did it. He's like, I'm not anti-Semitic.
Dude, you know for sure those two waitresses were white women. You know for sure. Dude, white women are crazy because, like, they've gone so long getting away with racism because they're white women that they'll say the most out-of-pocket shit and do the most out-of-pocket shit, and when it finally does get socially pushed back against, it's like, wait, what? Wait, what? Listen, no hate to the white women watching right now, but, like, it's true. It's true. It's kind of true. It's pretty fucking true.
Basically crying to me. And I'm just like, I don't buy it for a second. Who the would do that sign in my bar? You think I'm just going to sit here? I'm going to make it my mission to put you in lights. My mission. Kid's crying. I just hung up on his ass. I go, I'm giving you 1 hour. 1 hour. 2 kids go to temple. Tell me, how do I make this right before I go ape shit? You want to take anti-Semitism classes, you want to do whatever, you make it feel right. I don't need your tears.
Then, in an update later on Sunday, you had Dave posting another video, a bit calmer this time, saying,
My initial reaction was like, I'm going to burn these people to the ground, their families, everything. And it's like, you know what? Maybe that's not the best course of action. Maybe I can use this as a teaching moment.
with him then going on to say that he was going to send them on a tour of
Probably for the
Auschwitz in
best.
Poland.
But I talked to both the culprits who I know are super involved in it, talked to the families. I'm sending these kids to Auschwitz. They've agreed to go, and they're going to do a tour of the concentration camps in Germany and hopefully learn something, and maybe, like, their lives aren't ruined. And
Dude, imagine if we actually had Scared Straight for Anti-Semites. We rebuild a 1-to-1 model of Auschwitz here in America. We have it operated by all, like a cast of all Jewish in character, dressed up as Nazi prison guards. And if you're like anti-Semitic, you basically get arrested because it would be a crime. We'd go full Germany about it, right? Like modern Germany, you know? And then you get transferred from normal holding to the Auschwitz experience, where you, as an anti-Semite, you get to put on the funny striped pajamas. You get to go live in basically ramshackled huts while being worked damn near to the bone, fed the bare minimum, if anything, and given the bare minimum of water to stay alive, if at all, mind you. And then right at the end, we make them think we're going to make them go in the chamber. Like, we put them in there. Like, we shut the door. Like, we slowly lower the pellet into the solution, and then we stop it. Like, right at the end, it's like, ding! JK, guys. JK. And we go, like, full Willy Wonka with it, where it's like, don't you get it? You won! You won! Like, they go from, like, maximum despair to, like, you come in with, like the Willy Wonka outfit. Like, you don't get it! You've won! You've won! And then the anti-Semites, like, right as they're on the edge of tears, they get to be released, and they have a whole new lease on life. After the dude dressed as Willy Wonka gives them the full reveal of the twist. Dude, I'm coming up with some, like, absolutely sadistic ideas right now. Oh my gosh, that sounds funny.
they think twice, and more importantly, other people, like, see, it's not just like words you're throwing around. So to me, that's a fair outcome of this event.
Dave then also went on to say that the waitresses were fired and that they acted alone. In fact, saying that one of the girls pressured the other into it and neither of them went to discuss it with the manager. With the bar also saying in a statement that they are, quote, saddened, embarrassed, and frustrated by the deplorable actions of a customer and misguided staff. And adding that the staff in question went against their training and that their establishment has a zero-tolerance policy for hate and discrimination. And with that, they close by saying, we deeply apologize for the role we played in allowing hate speech to transpire. This unfortunate incident is the opposite of what we stand for, and we will be doubling down on efforts to prevent such actions in the future. We also saw that the police are investigating the incident, and the 2 students of Temple University who were involved are under investigation, with an unnamed one of them being suspended. And the school promising that any...
Did they commit a crime? I wasn't aware that what they did was a crime, but I guess it could be considered a hate crime. It could be argued in court.
anyone else found to be involved, quote, will face strict disciplinary action, including possible expulsion. With the university president saying in the strongest terms possible, let me be clear, anti-Semitism is abhorrent. It is no place at Temple, and acts of hatred and discrimination against any person or persons are not tolerated at this university. But then with all this, we saw not everyone was on board with Dave's decision here. You had many saying that Dave sending these people on an all-expenses-paid trip to Poland is an adequate punishment. And this is, you had people just kind of criticizing Barstool Sports.
There's some, I thought for a minute, like, will they take it seriously? Because they could just try to use this as like, haha, let's go get drunk in Poland, guys. Let's go vacation. They could even blow off the having to go to Auschwitz entirely. Like, who's there to make them do that? Like, once they're in Poland, right? Like, that, there is some concern there. If these guys are just genuine little shitheads, which it seems like to do this stunt in the first place, they might be.
Sports itself, saying things like, a fuck the Jews sign is obvious hate speech, but you won't get me to look past the fact that Barstool Sports has spent like a decade spreading dumbass middle school SEC-style racism, sexism, transphobia, etc. all over the internet, only to draw the line at anti-Semitism. Great stuff.
Is this true? Is this like because to be fair, people on Twitter will over-exaggerate claims like that, but is that true? Is Barstool Sports like generally pretty like conservative? Yes. So, I mean, yeah, but like, this is so weird though. This is a weird tendency that people on the left have where it's like, oh, so you're bad on all these things, but you're good on this one thing. It's like, I think this is the one case where it's like, yeah, this dude actually had a W. The Barstool Sports like people actually did something good here. And I think this is a good opportunity for the left to kind of, you know, subvert the idea that the right has planted in people's minds that, like, it's a super aggressive anti-acceptance. Like, the fact that they did a W should be praised by the left, within reason. Because I don't think it should look like, oh, you know, no positive or no, like, acceptance if you do the right thing or you have the right takes and you express the right opinions to people. But if you express shitty bad ones, then, you know, we'll go right up your ass and destroy you, right? Like, that reputation the left has is pretty bad. Like, there should be some level of, like, rare W whenever a good take is had. Like, sure, you gotta, you know, offer that little negative stimulus when they're cringe or wrong about something, but you also gotta give the positive side. Regardless, let's finish this bit up.
Also, I'll say, touching on criticisms like that, and another update posted on X, you had Dave railing against a reporter who had asked him questions along that same line.
She starts like, okay, fine enough, asking questions about the bar, how did it happen, responsibility, blah, blah, blah. And then she shifts. And then she does what a media scumbag does. She's like, well, she pulls a quote out of her ass from, like, I don't even know, a made-up journal, some professor at, like, the Sportocratic University of something. It's like they say that Barstool Sports creates a culture of harassment and that basically I'm responsible for this happening at my own bar.
With Portnoy also including footage of him getting heated with the reporter. But that is not where the story ends, because yesterday you had Dave posting another video saying that one of the people who was involved here completely changed his tune and is no longer taking accountability for his actions. Or with Dave saying that he saw a now deleted post from one of the people that completely clashed with his prior attitude when accepting responsibility and deciding to go to Auschwitz. With Dave saying that he called them and that on that call they claimed that he didn't have anything to do with it and that he felt pressured into admitting that he did. And so you had Dave deciding to rescind his offer to send him on a trip to Poland.
Buddy, what are you doing? I'm like trying to make this a teachable moment, throw a lifeline to a kid. He's like, well, I already got suspended from Temple because you got a F the Jews sign at a bar and posted it on social media. What don't...
Dude, wait, was one of these kids Jewish too? He was probably trying to, like, fit in with his buddies. You know that's probably the case, right? That's an opportunity where it's like, if you're Jewish and you're making jokes like that, like, you need to go on a trip to Auschwitz and see. Like, you gotta, like if it's really that much of just, like, nothing to you, and it's just that thing that maybe some people, like, talk about, and it's like, yeah, nothing like that is ever gonna happen again. Why do people still talk about it? If you're Jewish and that's how you think of it, like, you probably need to have, like, your history refreshed for you, because, like, there's a global non-stop threat, especially, like, in Europe and the Middle East in particular, a pretty consistent threat of, like, massive anti-Semitic uprisings. Like, that shit is a very real fear. And the idea that, like, all this shit is something of the past that we just joke about now, not really. You know, like, there are people right now around the world suffering and being oppressed right now because they're Jewish. Like, that is still happening.
You get about that. Maybe if you actually learn a life lesson, maybe if people watch you go to Poland and seem like you're changed, this gets behind you. But now, no, I'm not going to send him now.
Right, and as of now, we don't know what the status is for the other person that Dave offered to send to Poland. You know, what's been interesting is this has been playing out is just the reactions online. Because just generally speaking, people kind of landed in one of three aisles. One, people that loved what Dave said and his kind of idea for how to resolve the situation. Two, people that found the idea of them going to Auschwitz as kind of just not far enough, more of almost like rewarding them with a free trip. And then you had a third group that was saying that Dave Portnoy was actually engaging in cancel culture, that he was going after and trying to ruin the lives of college students. You know, the reactions have been...
Cancel culture is when you don't like when people literally express negative sentiment directly towards a marginalized group. Like, literally just saying, fuck this marginalized group. Cancel culture is when you're against that, I guess. Really, we're doing cancel culture memes in 2025? Really? You know, the dominant online left still out here canceling and ending careers. Didn't know. Where are they? Please, let me know. I lost track.
All over the place, depending on where you go on the internet. So, you know, as we wait to see how this continues to play out, I've got to pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts with this whole mess? But then, next up today, we've got to talk...
No! Philip DeFranco, we came for one story and one story only. You sneaky bastard. You sneaky, sneaky bastard. Nice try. Nice try. In all seriousness, though, I'll drop a like, because we love Philly D over here. We got to get filled in by Philly D. Anyway, guys, if you watch this far into the video, and you want to let me know that you watched this far, then comment down below, I love sports ball. That'll let me know you saw this far, and on top of that, your comment will boost the channel and the algorithm. It is totally free and the best way to do so, mind you, along with hitting the like button. If you haven't done so already, make sure to like all my streams and videos when they come out, and comment on them. It really does help, really does mean a lot, so thank you to everybody who does that. And of course, if you want to follow me and see more of me on other platforms, you can follow my social medias, linked down below in the description, especially and including my Discord server, the main hub of my community and fan base, and my other social medias as well. But the Discord is really where you want to be, because I host gaming events, call-in streams, and watch parties every week there on Fridays. It's really where everything's happening. And of course, finally, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or maybe buy some custom Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you so much for watching, as always, and have a good one.